It was a quiet night at the Deep Space Monitoring Station in Nevada. The huge satellite dishes pointed at the dark sky, listening to the endless whispers of space. Tom Miller sat at his desk, sipping his third cup of coffee while watching the usual streams of data flow across his screens. At exactly 3:47 a.m. Earth Standard Time, everything changed. The first sign was a small blip on Monitor 3, something different from the usual background noise of the universe. Tom almost missed it, but 15 years of experience had taught him to notice even the smallest unusual patterns. He straightened in his chair and adjusted his glasses, his coffee forgotten. "Hey, Robert," he called to his colleague across the room. "Come take a look at this." Robert Wheeler walked over, wiping sleep from his eyes. "What have you got?" "Look at this signal pattern. It's not random. There's a clear sequence repeating every 12 seconds. As they watched, the signal grew stronger. Soon, other monitoring stations around the world began reporting the same thing. Within an hour, every major space observation facility on Earth was tracking the mysterious transmission. The message, when they finally decoded it, was both simple and shocking. To any civilization receiving this transmission, "This is Fleet Commander Wilson of the Stellar Confederation. Our fleet of 300 vessels is stranded in your solar system's outer region due to catastrophic drive failure. We require assistance. Please respond if capable." The next 48 hours on Earth were chaos. Presidents, prime ministers, and world leaders held emergency meetings. Military forces went on high alert. News channels ran non-stop coverage, and social media exploded with theories and reactions. In a secure underground facility in Geneva, Earth's top scientists and military leaders gathered to draft a response. The room was tense with both excitement and fear. "We can't ignore this," said Dr. Miller, who had been called in from Nevada. "They're in our solar system, and they need help." General Parker, a stern-faced military veteran, shook his head. "It could be a trap. Why would such an advanced civilization need our help? We've barely reached Mars." Dr. Emma Thompson, head of the International Space Agency, stood up. "With all due respect, General, if they wanted to attack us, they wouldn't need to pretend to be stranded. 300 ships, they could easily overwhelm us." "No, I think this is genuine." The debate continued for hours until they received a second transmission. This one included visual data showing the massive fleet stranded near the Kuiper Belt. The ships were beautiful, sleek crystalline structures that seemed to glow with internal light. But they were clearly dead in space, their main drives dark and lifeless. What surprised everyone was the aliens' reaction when Earth responded to their call. The transmission they received back was filled with disbelief. "You can receive and decode our signals. Our data showed your species had only achieved basic spaceflight capabilities. This is unexpected." Dr. Thompson couldn't help but smile at their surprise. "Well," she said to the room, "it seems we've already impressed them just by answering the phone." The world's leaders finally reached a decision. Earth would help. A small team would be sent to assess the situation, led by the best engineers and scientists humanity had to offer. It was a risk, but also an opportunity unlike any in human history. As the news spread across Earth, people looked up at the night sky with new eyes. Somewhere out there, among the distant stars, 300 ships full of alien beings waited, about to learn that humanity was far more capable than they had assumed. Tom Miller, back at his monitoring station in Nevada, smiled as he watched the signals continue to come in. He had a feeling this was just the beginning of something amazing. Sometimes, he thought, the most important calls for help come from the most unexpected places, and humanity was ready to answer. The human ship Hope traveled through the darkness of space, carrying Earth's first contact team toward the stranded alien fleet. Captain Mike Adams watched through the main viewport as the massive crystalline ships grew larger. Even without power, they were beautiful, like giant diamonds floating in space. "Nervous?" asked engineer Lisa Reed, floating up beside him in the zero gravity. "A little," he admitted. We're about to be the first humans to meet an advanced alien civilization. I'd be crazy not to be nervous. Their small ship looked like a toy compared to the alien vessels. The smallest alien ship was 3 times bigger than the largest spacecraft humans had ever built. The alien fleet stretched out as far as they could see, 300 massive ships reflecting the distant sunlight. The radio crackled. "Human vessel, you are cleared to dock with the command ship. Follow the guide lights." Small blue lights flickered to life along one of the crystal ships, creating a path to a docking area. Lisa checked their instruments. No dangerous radiation or signals detected. "Looks safe, Captain." "Well," Mike said, taking a deep breath, "let's not keep our new friends waiting." The docking went smoothly, surprisingly so. When the airlock opened, the human team found themselves in a corridor that seemed to be made of pure light. The walls glowed with a soft blue color that reminded Mike of Earth's oceans. Then they saw the aliens. The beings that walked toward them were tall, nearly 8 feet in height. Their bodies seemed to be made of living crystal, semi-transparent and glowing from within. As they moved, colors rippled through their forms like the northern lights on Earth. "Welcome, humans," one of the aliens said, its body pulsing with light patterns as it spoke. "I am Command Leader First. We did not expect your species to have ships capable of reaching us." Mike stepped forward. "I'm Captain Mike Adams, and this is Engineer Lisa Reed. We're here to help." The aliens looked at each other, their bodies flickering with what might have been amusement. "Help," Command Leader First said. "Your species has not yet mastered faster than light travel. Our technology is centuries beyond yours." Lisa pulled out her tablet computer. "Maybe, but sometimes fresh eyes see things differently. Could you show us what's wrong with your ships?" The aliens led them to what they called the drive chamber. It was a massive room filled with crystals, similar to the aliens themselves, but these were dark and lifeless. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing complex diagrams that would have looked like magic to most humans. Lisa studied the displays with intense concentration. "Interesting," she muttered. "Your quantum drive system. It's actually not that different from theories our scientists have been working on." The aliens flickered in surprise. "You understand these diagrams?" "The basics, yes," Lisa said, still studying the displays. "The principles of quantum mechanics are universal. You've just taken them further than we have." "But," she pointed to one section of the diagram, "what's this power distribution system here?" For the next few hours, Lisa asked questions that seemed to surprise the aliens more and more. She didn't understand everything, but she understood enough to start forming theories about what might have gone wrong. "Your quantum drives aren't the problem," she finally said. "It's your power distribution system. When you passed through that space anomaly, it affected the crystalline matrices you use to channel energy. The drives themselves are fine." The aliens' bodies flickered rapidly with different colors. "Impossible," Command Leader First said. "Our AI systems ran millions of diagnostics. The drives must be the problem." "Sometimes the simplest answer is hard to see when you're too close to the problem," Mike said. "Would you let us try to fix one of your smaller ships?" As a test. The aliens had a long discussion, their bodies flashing with complex patterns of light. Finally, Command Leader First turned back to them. "We will allow this test, but we warn you, if you damage our ship further, there will be consequences." Mike looked at Lisa, who nodded confidently. "We understand," he said. "We'll need to call in a few more engineers from Earth, and we'll need to know everything about your power systems." As they headed back to their ship to make arrangements, Lisa whispered to Mike, "They really don't think we can do it, do they?" Mike smiled. "Then we'll just have to prove them wrong." The next few days aboard the alien command ship were filled with intense work. Lisa Reed had called in 3 more engineers from Earth, David, Maria, and Jack. They sat in what the aliens called the analysis chamber, surrounded by floating holographic displays showing the ship's systems. "Look at this," Lisa said, pointing to a complex diagram. Their power system is like a river. It should flow smoothly from their main reactor to the quantum drives, but something's blocking it. David nodded, scratching his beard. It's like a clog in a pipe, but with energy instead of water. The aliens watched this discussion with their bodies glowing in patterns that suggested doubt. Command Leader First's crystalline form pulsed with deep blue lights. Our systems are far more complex than simple water pipes, it said. Our best AI minds have analyzed every possibility. Maria looked up from her tablet. Sometimes computers miss things that human intuition can spot. We've been fixing machines since before we had computers to help us. She walked to one of the holographic displays and pointed to a section of the power distribution system. See these crystal matrices? They're supposed to channel energy, right? But the space anomaly you passed through changed their atomic structure slightly. They're not aligned properly anymore. The aliens' bodies flickered rapidly with surprise and skepticism. One of them, a scientist they called Knowledge Seeker Third, moved closer to examine the display. How can you be so sure? Our scanning equipment shows no such misalignment. Jack, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. Because we've seen something similar on Earth, just on a much smaller scale. When we work with crystal-based laser systems, even tiny imperfections can disrupt the energy flow. The principle is the same, just scaled up. The human team spent the next several hours explaining their theory. They used simple drawings and basic physics principles to show how the space anomaly could have affected the crystalline power conduits. Lisa even created a small demonstration using some spare equipment they had brought from Earth. Watch this, she said, setting up a simple crystal and a small laser. When the crystal is perfectly aligned, the laser passes through cleanly. But if we change its structure even slightly, she exposed the crystal to a weak electromagnetic field, and the laser beam scattered. This is happening in your power distribution system, just on a massive scale. Command Leader First and the other aliens had a long discussion, their bodies flashing with complex patterns of light. Finally, they turned back to the humans. Your theory is interesting, Command Leader First admitted, but the fix you propose is too simple. You suggest we need to. What did you call it? Recalibrate, Lisa said. We need to realign the crystal matrices by running a controlled electromagnetic pulse through them. It's like resetting them to their original state. Impossible, another alien declared, its body flashing angry red. Such a crude solution could never work on our advanced systems. Mike Adams, who had been watching from the corners, stepped forward. Then let us prove it. Give us one of your smaller ships to test our theory. If we're wrong, you've lost nothing. If we're right, you'll have a way to save your entire fleet. The aliens discussed among themselves again. Their bodies created a beautiful light show as they debated, colors rippling through their crystalline forms like waves in an ocean. Very well, Command Leader First finally said. We will give you access to Scout Ship 7. It is one of our smallest vessels. You have 48 Earth hours to test your theory. As the aliens left the chamber, Maria turned to Lisa with a worried look. 48 hours isn't much time. Lisa smiled. Then we better get to work. David, start setting up the EM pulse generator. Maria, we'll need detailed scans of those crystal matrices. Jack, help me calculate the exact pulse frequency we'll need. Mike watched his team spring into action with pride. They might be considered primitive by the alien standards, but he had complete faith in them. Sometimes the simplest solutions were the best ones, even for the most advanced problems. The next 48 hours would prove whether humanity's practical approach could succeed where alien supercomputers had failed. Scout Ship 7 floated silently in space, separated from the main fleet. The small vessel, though tiny compared to the alien command ships, was still larger than anything humans had ever built. Inside its engine room, Lisa and her team worked quickly, setting up their equipment. Time check. Lisa called out, connecting cables to their makeshift electromagnetic pulse generator. 36 hours left, David replied. not looking up from his calculations. The power calibration is almost ready. The aliens watched from their observation posts, their crystalline bodies glowing with what seemed like nervous energy. Command Leader First stood with them, its form pulsing with deep purple lights. "Your equipment looks primitive," it said, watching Maria attach Earth-made sensors to the ship's crystal matrices. Jack looked up from his workstation and smiled. "Sometimes the simplest tools are the most reliable. We brought what we know works." The hours ticked by as they prepared. Each crystal matrix had to be carefully mapped and monitored. They couldn't risk damaging the alien technology. This was their only chance to prove themselves. Ready for the first test, Lisa announced after several more hours of preparation. "Everyone clear the chamber except for essential personnel." The aliens moved back, their bodies flickering with a mixture of curiosity and doubt. Maria started the countdown. "Pulse in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A low hum filled the engine room. The electromagnetic pulse generator glowed blue, sending carefully calibrated waves of energy through the ship's crystal matrices. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the crystals began to change. Their internal structure shifted, realigning at the atomic level. The process was beautiful to watch, like frost patterns forming on a window, but with light and energy instead of ice. "First section is realigning," David called out, checking his readings. Just as we predicted. The aliens' bodies flashed with surprise. Command Leader First moved closer to the displays, its crystalline form pulsing rapidly with different colors. "Impossible," it whispered. "The crystals are actually responding." The process continued for several hours. Section by section, they realigned the crystal matrices throughout the ship's power distribution system. There were some tense moments. Once, a power surge almost forced them to abort, but the human team worked together smoothly, solving each problem as it arose. Finally, after 28 hours of continuous work, Lisa looked up from her station. "That's the last section. Maria, run a final diagnostic." Everyone held their breath as Maria checked the readings. The silence in the engine room was heavy with anticipation. "Crystal alignment at 99.7% efficiency," Maria announced, a huge smile spreading across her face. "The power distribution system is back to normal." The human team cheered, hugging each other in celebration. Even the aliens seemed excited, their bodies glowing with bright, rapid patterns of light. "Try starting the engines," Mike suggested to Command Leader First. The alien leader hesitated for a moment, then gave the command. The ship's engines hummed to life, power flowing smoothly through the newly aligned crystal matrices. The quantum drive activated perfectly, its energy readings showing normal levels for the first time since passing through the space anomaly. "It works," Command Leader First said, its voice filled with astonishment. "Your primitive solution actually works. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," Lisa said, wiping sweat from her forehead. "The principles of physics are the same everywhere in the universe. We just needed to apply them correctly." The news spread quickly through the alien fleet. Scout Ship 7 was fully operational again, proven by a series of thorough tests. The human team's solution had worked perfectly. Command Leader First gathered the human team together. Its crystalline form now glowed with warm, golden light. "We apologize for doubting your capabilities. Your species has proven itself far more resourceful than we imagined. Will you help us repair the rest of the fleet?" Mike looked at his tired but proud team, then back at the alien leader. "That's why we're here," he said. "But we'll need more help. It's time to call in the rest of Earth's engineers. We have 299 more ships to fix." As they prepared to contact Earth for reinforcements, Lisa couldn't help but smile. They had done more than just fix a ship. They had proven that humanity's practical approach to problem-solving could match, and sometimes even exceed, the most advanced alien technology. The real work was just beginning. 2 weeks had passed since the successful repair of Scout Ship 7. The space around the alien fleet now buzzed with activity. Small Earth ships moved between the massive crystal vessels like bees around giant flowers. Hundreds of human engineers had answered the call to help, but they were running out of time. Life support systems are failing faster than expected, Lisa announced during the daily briefing. She stood in the command ship's meeting chamber, surrounded by both human team leaders and alien commanders. The holographic displays around them showed red warning signals on many ships. Command Leader First's crystalline form pulsed with worry purple light. We have perhaps 3 Earth weeks before the systems fail completely. Many ships are already running on emergency power. Mike looked at the fleet status display. They had fixed 30 ships so far, but that left hundreds more. We need to work faster, he said. Lisa, what if we split into smaller teams? Already done, she replied. But we're running low on materials. The electromagnetic pulse generators weren't designed for this much continuous use. That's when Tom, one of the newer engineers, spoke up. I might have an idea. All eyes turned to him. We're thinking too complicated. What if we use the fixed chips to help repair the others? Lisa's eyes lit up. Like a power transfer. Use their restored crystal matrices to help realign the damaged ones. Exactly, Tom said. It's like jump-starting a car, but with crystal energy patterns instead of electricity. The aliens' bodies flickered rapidly as they discussed this new idea. Such a method is not in any of our technical manuals, Knowledge Seeker Third said. That's because sometimes you have to think outside the manual, Maria added, pulling up new calculations on her tablet. If we chain the ships together in the right pattern, we could fix them in groups instead of one at a time. The next few days were a blur of activity. Earth's factories worked around the clock, sending up supplies on every available rocket. The space around the alien fleet became a complex web of ships connected by energy transfer cables. The work was dangerous. 2 engineers were injured when an energy surge overloaded their equipment. But nobody gave up. Humans and aliens worked side by side, learning from each other. The aliens began to understand human intuition, while the humans learned to use alien technology more effectively. Power transfer starting on Group 7, David's voice crackled over the radio. Crystal matrix realignment at 15%, 30%, 60%. Everyone held their breath. This was the largest group they had attempted to fix at once. 15 ships connected in a chain. Matrix realignment complete, David announced. Cheers erupted across the fleet's communication channels. But their celebration was cut short by an alarm. Red lights flashed through the command ship. Life support failing on Section 4 ships. An alien technician reported, its body flashing urgent red patterns. Power levels critical. How many people on those ships? Mike asked quickly. 3,422, Command Leader First replied. Lisa jumped into action. Redirect power from the restored ships. We can keep their life support running while we fix their systems. That would slow down the repair process, an alien engineer objected. Better slow than dead, Mike said firmly. Lives come first. The aliens agreed, their bodies glowing with respect for the human decision. They worked together to reroute power across the fleet, creating a complex network of shared energy to keep everyone alive. As the emergency stabilized, Command Leader First approached Mike and Lisa. Your species continues to surprise us, it said. You solve problems in ways we never considered. That's because we've had to work with limited resources our whole history, Lisa explained. It teaches you to be creative. Looking out at the fleet, Mike could see dozens of teams still working, human and alien ships moving together in a coordinated dance. They had fixed almost half the fleet now, but the race against time wasn't over. We'll get it done, he said confidently. We just need to keep thinking on our feet. The aliens' bodies glowed with what had become their version of a smile. They were learning that sometimes the best solutions came from the most unexpected places, even from a species they had once considered primitive. The warning sirens caught everyone by surprise. One moment, the fleet repair operation was running smoothly. The next, every alarm in the command ship was screaming. Multiple failures in the main reactor. Knowledge Seeker Third's crystalline form flashed urgent red and orange patterns. A power surge is affecting the entire command network. Lisa rushed to the nearest control panel, her fingers flying over the holographic displays. The command ship's crystal matrices are collapsing. The energy pattern is cascading through all the connected ships. They had fixed nearly 200 ships over the past weeks, all linked together in a complex power-sharing network. Now that same network threatened to destroy everything they had accomplished. Disconnect all ships, Command Leader first ordered, its body pulsing with emergency patterns. Break the power links. No, Mike shouted. If we disconnect now, we'll lose life support to half the fleet. There has to be another way. The command center was chaos. Alien crew members rushed between stations, their bodies creating a frenzied light show of warning colors. Human engineers worked desperately at their equipment, trying to contain the power surge. That's when David, who had been quietly studying the power flow diagrams, spoke up. What if we use Earth's old nuclear reactors? Everyone turned to look at him. Explain, Command Leader first demanded. Your quantum technology is too advanced to handle this kind of raw energy surge, David said quickly. But our old fission reactors are built to contain exactly this type of overload. They're not elegant, but they're sturdy. Lisa's eyes widened. We could modify the containment systems from Earth's nuclear plants to create a buffer. Impossible, an alien engineer objected, its form flickering with doubt. Your primitive fission technology cannot possibly handle our quantum energy levels. Actually, it can. Maria joined in, pulling up calculations. The principles of energy containment don't change just because the technology is more advanced. Basic physics still applies. The whole command ship shuddered. More warning lights flashed across the displays. We have 18 minutes before total system failure, Knowledge Seeker Third announced. Command Leader First's crystalline form pulsed with rapid colors as it considered the options. What do you need? The containment blueprints from 3 different nuclear plants, Lisa said, and permission to modify your main reactor room. This is our command ship, the alien leader said. If you fail. If we don't try, everyone dies anyway, Mike replied firmly. After what felt like an eternity but was actually only seconds, Command Leader First gave its approval. The next 15 minutes were a blur of activity. Earth sent the nuclear plant blueprints immediately. Lisa and her team worked frantically to adapt the ancient but reliable technology to the alien systems. Containment field ready, Lisa shouted, activating now. The modified system hummed to life. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the warning signals began to change from red to yellow, and finally to green. Energy surge contained, Knowledge Seeker Third reported, its body glowing with amazement. The primitive containment field is working perfectly. The command center erupted in cheers. Humans hugged each other while aliens flashed celebrations with their light patterns. They had done it. I don't understand, one of the alien engineers said later, studying the containment system. How can such simple technology control our advanced quantum energy? Sometimes the best solutions are the simple ones, David explained. Your quantum systems are amazing, but they're also delicate. Our old nuclear plants were built to handle the worst cases imaginable. Sometimes you need a strong wall more than a smart one. Command Leader First approached Mike and Lisa. Its crystalline form now glowed with a deep, respectful blue. Your species has saved this fleet twice now. First with practical thinking, and now with technology we thought was obsolete. We were wrong to consider you primitive. We're just glad we could help, Mike said. And now that the crisis is over, we can finish repairing the rest of the fleet. Looking around the command center, he saw humans and aliens working together, sharing knowledge and ideas. The crisis had brought them closer together, proving that different approaches to problems could make everyone stronger. The fleet was safe, and humanity had proven itself once again. 1 month after the crisis, the last ship in the alien fleet hummed to life. Lissa watched the power readings stabilize on her tablet and smiled. "That's it," she announced. "Ship number 300 is fully operational." The massive repair operation had transformed the space around the fleet. Human ships and stations now floated among the crystal vessels, a testament to the unprecedented cooperation between the two species. What had started as an emergency call for help had become the greatest technological and cultural exchange in human history. Command Leader First stood in the main observation chamber of the command ship, its crystalline form glowing with warm golden light. Mike, Lisa, and the core human team gathered around it, watching the now restored fleet shine against the backdrop of stars. "When we first sent our distress call," Command Leader First said, "we never expected to find such valuable allies. Your species has taught us much." "We've learned a lot too," Mike replied. "Your technology is amazing. The ways you use crystal matrices for energy control, your quantum drives." The alien leader's form pulsed with what they now recognized as amusement. "Yet it was your simple solutions that saved us." Twice, it turned to address the gathered humans and aliens. "The Stellar Confederation has made a decision. We wish to formally recognize Earth as an advanced civilization." The announcement sent excited whispers through the chamber. Recognition from the Stellar Confederation meant access to their trade routes, technology, and knowledge bases. "As is our custom," Command Leader First continued, "we offer payment for your help. We can provide quantum drive technology, crystal matrix fabrication techniques." Lisa stepped forward. "Actually," she said, "we have a different request." The alien leader's form flickered with curiosity. "Speak." "Instead of advanced technology," Mike explained, "we'd like to establish a cultural and scientific exchange program. Let's learn from each other properly. You have amazing technology, but we've shown that our different way of thinking can be valuable too." The aliens discussed among themselves, their bodies creating beautiful patterns of light as they talked. Finally, Command Leader First turned back to the humans. "Your request shows wisdom," it said. "You do not simply want our advances, you want to understand them, to grow together. This is why your species continues to impress us." Over the next few hours, they worked out the details. Earth would host alien scientists and engineers, while human teams would visit Confederation worlds. Both species would share knowledge at their own pace, learning from each other's strengths and weaknesses. "There's one more thing," Knowledge Seeker Third added, its form glowing bright blue. "We would like to establish a permanent embassy on Earth, and we request permission to build a space station in your system, as a center for our joint research." The human representatives quickly agreed. Plans were made, documents were prepared, and a new chapter in human history began to take shape. As the meeting ended, Lisa stood at the observation window, watching Earth shine like a blue jewel in the distance. David joined her. "Hard to believe it all started with a broken-down fleet," he said. Lisa nodded. "And now look at us, working with advanced aliens, planning joint research projects, all because we weren't afraid to suggest simple solutions to complex problems." They watched as the first group of ships prepared to depart. Most of the fleet would head home, but some ships would stay behind to help build the new space station. The crystalline vessels moved gracefully, their newly repaired systems working perfectly. Command Leader First approached them one last time. "Your species has a saying," it said. "Sometimes the best things come in simple packages. We understand that better now." Mike smiled. "And we've learned that being advanced doesn't always mean having the newest technology. It's about how you think, how you solve problems, and how you work with others." As the main fleet prepared for departure, humans and aliens gathered to say goodbye. But it wasn't really goodbye, it was just the beginning. Earth had gained powerful allies. The aliens had learned valuable lessons about simplicity and practical thinking, and both species were richer for the experience. The stars seemed brighter somehow, full of new possibilities. Humanity had been called to save a stranded alien fleet, but they had achieved something far greater. They had proven that sometimes the simplest solutions could bridge the greatest distances, both in space and between species.